Okay, hey, starting off with Digital NEWAM today. It is February 7th. We're looking at our objective. Similar to what we've been looking at, I can explain what greenhouse gases do. I can explain various ways humans use natural resources to impact Earth systems. We have a couple things going on. Intro, co-taught, graphing. We're going to be looking at a graph before we start off class today. I told you you'd have about half the period to work on your project, maybe a little bit less. We want to do this graphing activity first because this is also an important thing. So for the graphing, we're going to be turning it over to co-teacher, Digital NEWAM. He and Live NEWAM are going to be working together. So me as Digital and your teacher as Live are going to be working together a little bit on this graphing activity. It's going to be our he do, we do. So he is going to turn it over to me. And so we are going to be doing that together. You do for part of it. Us do. That's going to be where you can work with a partner, either a shoulder partner or a face partner. Compare your data. Come back to the we do, and then with the remaining time, we're going to get back to our project and get into those checkpoints. So we do want to take a look at the graph. The graph part is getting handed out right now. We're looking at carbon dioxide versus time versus temperature in Antarctica. Let's take a look at that graph real quick. Okay, so here's our graph on the board. I do want to point out two things real quick. That we do already have a label for temperature, and I had to add labels for time for the bottom and for carbon dioxide levels here on this side. So we have a 2 y-axis graph, which is how we're able to graph two different things. Our carbon dioxide, according to our instruction sheet, is going to be graphed in pencil, and our temperature is going to be the one that we do in a different color. It says red pencil, but I don't really have a preference if it's red or green or whatever you want to do. For the sake of this, I'm going to go ahead and underline carbon dioxide in black. And underline temperature in red, just so that we can make sure we're on the same page for understanding. And I don't want to leave that covering this up. So for starters, graph data number 1 on your sheet, this sheet here on the edge. Your graph data number 1 actually looks at time versus CO2 levels. So time and our CO2 levels, we're going on that side of the graph in regular pencil. So 400 years before the present, right here, we're looking at a 279 parts per million. So right about here, and then coming all the way out to that 400 mark. And we'll go ahead and put a point right there. We're gonna graph about 2 or 3 points just so we can get a line going, and then I'm gonna turn it over. 360 years before the present, we're at about 210 parts per million. Coming down to here, across to 360. Okay, and I'm going to actually pause that there on what I'm doing as co-teacher and hand it over to Live Mr. NEWAM. But I'm going to go ahead and throw in our temperature graphs so that he has a little bit of basis for both before having to take over completely. So our temperature, the second one, to color graph, we're doing in red, so that's going to be off of this side. Our temperatures in Antarctica, in the year 400, we're at 55.3. So we are negative 55.3, I should say, right about here, just below 55. And for the year 360, we're looking at negative 60.6. So we're going to go about halfway between on these. I'm going to go ahead and pause it there just so that Live Mr. NEWAM can go ahead and finish off or continue on with the graph with you guys. And then I will touch base with you again when we get to the final we do so we can look what the final graph should actually look like. All right, so when we come back around to our completed graph, remember temperature is the red line, whatever your colored line was, whether you used a highlighter, red pencil, whatever you might have had. Regular pencil line or pen line with the black line, carbon dioxide. You can see as we track the carbon dioxide, as it is going down, we're seeing the same trend with our temperatures. What might this indicate as we are considering how this affects the environment in Antarctica? As we're seeing the carbon dioxide increase and seeing the temperatures increase with it. And when the carbon dioxide decreases, temperatures decrease with it. What does that actually tell us? That's the questions you're considering on your sheet. take a moment to consider those last couple questions. I'm going to go ahead and interrupt myself now to remind you what we're looking at with the project, so that you can finish up those last couple questions there and then continue moving with your project work. Thanks so much. This has been Co-Teacher Digital Anyway.